Welcome to Abridged, a podcast on everything Bracebridge, with your host, me, Mayor Rick Maloney.
I'm joined with Deputy Chief for the Bracebridge Fire Department, Mike Peake. Mike, welcome to the Abridged.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and you have not just your role as Deputy Chief, but another role you have as the Community Emergency Management Coordinator.
That's right.
Which is a busy portfolio this time of year when we are on the verge of the spring melt and yet to be spring Freshet. Tell us a little bit about what your role is, and then from there maybe share a little bit about where we're at currently with conditions.
Sure. So I'm the Community Emergency Management Coordinator, like you said, and we also have alternates, which, thank goodness for them, because it is quite a daunting task around this time of year and other times as well when we get some major storms. So part of my position as the CEMC is preparing the rest of the emergency control group for when an emergency happens. So I'm also the liaison officer when it comes to an emergency. So in that emergency control group, that's the role that I would play. This time of year, this is a weird time of year because we did have records amount of snow. So not only are we seeing, elevated water in the watershed, but we're also seeing that melting on top of the ground right now, which is causing us a little bit of issues. The roadways, if there's a marsh on either side of the roadway, we're seeing the roadways are getting a little bit flooded. So, that's our role right now, is trying to navigate those and doing some wellness checks. But yeah, it is pretty daunting. It's a big job, but.
Yeah, so you mentioned we do have, I think yesterday, being Monday the 17th, the town announced that there was a couple of roads that were closed, Campbell's Road and Germania Road, because of it really is seasonal flooding. It's not the spring freshet. It's what we see naturally year over year for some of the areas that are lower lying. And obviously that's a response that we have to deal with, because you want to make sure emergency vehicles and people can move and things like that.
Right.
From the spring freshet, we're not into that yet. We've had some initial melts. We've had a lot of snowpack. What is the word from the Ministry of Natural Resources in terms of what they're predicting, given the information they have so far on what the spring may look like?
Yeah, the MNR, when they report, Huntsville didn't get the significant snow events that ourselves and Gravenhurst may have gotten, so they don't have the same levels as us. So far, with the hydrometric data that I've looked at every year from the beginning of March right through until the freshet's over, it looks pretty good. I mean, we're seeing elevated water obviously coming from the Big East all the way down, and we're seeing some elevated water through the north and the south branch coming from Lake of Bays. But right now, the water seems to be at par from last year, which is good. That is significant to us.
So, the biggest thing from our standpoint is, what Mother Nature is going to give us down the road. And as you pointed out, we do have some rain in the forecast Wednesday, Thursday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, but not a great quantity of rain. And as you noted, that next couple of weeks in the longer term forecast is really kind of beneficial in that it's not overly warm during the day and it gets below freezing. That helps stiffen things up, doesn't it, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. And even now, we noticed that the ground hasn't frozen solid. So, it's giving it opportunity to actually seep into the ground along with going into the watershed. So we were, we're lucky in a way that we did get that significant snow event, which basically insulated the ground from freezing. So, as long as we get all of those opportunities and the water's not going straight into the watershed, it seems to be navigating the situation fairly well.
And one of the things that we've really pushed out over the last several weeks through the town's social media channels and fire department as well is being prepared. Talk a little bit about what folks should be doing, should be thinking about, particularly those folks that live in those flood-prone areas within the municipality.
Yeah, for sure. I think starting out, we should talk about maybe summer months, spring, summer, and fall. Those are your opportunities if you do have to create a berm or create a different layout on your property. Those are your opportunities. At this point, I believe your property is the way it is. All we can do now is navigate that by shoveling away the snow from your foundation. Everybody's getting some leaking into their basements at this point, even myself. So those situations are going to occur, and it's just the nature of the beast with what we've had through the winter season. But I think moving forward, those are the only ways that you can really navigate that, is just moving the snow away from your foundation, moving it away from any openings, any window wells, things like that. Just making sure that you're doing your due diligence until we do get this snow melted.
And you have always promoted the 72-hour preparedness kit. Refresh us on the importance of having that for folks, and the importance of having that plan for 72 hours.
Yeah, that 72-hour kit's super important, especially if you're in those areas where you are prone to flooding in your property as well. Just being prepared, making sure that you have the essentials, and making sure that all of your documents are in order as well. Having some non-perishable food items, things like that. Just making sure that you have toiletries and your chargers, generator backup, things like that. Just making sure that you're prepared in the event that you can't leave and we can't get to you within that 72-hour period.
And is there? I'm sure we have a site within the town's website that folks can go to make sure they have a checklist of that kit, or is there maybe a provincial site that we can go to?
Yeah, there's lots of provincial entities out there where you can go online. It'll give you full instructions and a checklist on what should be in a 72-hour kit. We also have some reels that we've done through the town of Bracebridge as well. But also the town has a great website. So if you go to the town of Bracebridge website, there's a lot of flooding information on there. So if you need any extra information, or if you're looking for anything, I encourage people to check that website out.
And for folks that want to continue to get information as we move further into the spring, where can we be pointing them to?
Well, the same. So the town of Bracebridge, the fire department, we put a lot of things out on social media. We have a great coordination team that works together and puts out the information that we think is important at the time. So we're not going to move ahead into scenarios that may not even occur. What we're talking about is the things that are happening right now. So it's important to stay within those channels, social media, also along with the Town of Bracebridge website and the Town of Bracebridge website. Also, if anything were to occur, we also have Voyant Alert, which is an important aspect as well. So anything that were to occur in an emergency aspect, we will be putting that out on Voyant Alert as well.
So Voyant Alert is kind of that quick way to get information out to folks that have downloaded the app. It's an app that you can put on your phone. I'm assuming go to the regular app store to find the Voyant Alert and put it on your phone.
Yeah, you can get to it with any platform, and it's called Voyant Alert. And you download the app and you put in your area, and as long as you refresh it once every 30 days. That's the problem that we're having, is people download it to their phone and they don't refresh it. And if you don't refresh it, you won't get that information. So keeping that refreshed, keeping it open, and that allows it to get that emergency notification when it happens.
So for the less techie refresh like me, the refreshing is just really opening the app up.
Open it up, yeah.
And then close it.
That's it.
Okay, yeah. That's pretty simple. I can handle that.
Yeah.
So, I think that there's a number of residents get a little bit on edge when they see what's happening, and we've lived through significant flood events of 13 and 19, and folks get on a little bit of the edge. What advice can you impart with to some of the folks that go through a bit of a struggle with worrying about their property at this time of year? What advice would you have for them?
I think just staying in touch with what's happening, staying engaged with those social media posts, staying engaged with the Town of Bracebridge website and the fire department website, downloading that app. That's the most important, I think, in my opinion. You're going to get the most current information if you stay with those channels. And I think at that point you'll be as prepared as you could possibly be in the event that we do get flooding. I hesitate to use the word flooding. At this point, we're seeing elevated water is what we're seeing, and like you were mentioning before, we do see those across Bracebridge and Muskoka. Huntsville's seeing it right now. We do have a great opportunity, being that Huntsville being to the north of us. They'll see those elevated waters prior to us. So we have about a week of planning before it'll actually get through the watershed toward us. So, that's a great opportunity for us where we can monitor ourselves, but then we're in touch with our counterparts in Huntsville as well. So we know what's coming.
And I think the, message at this time of year for everybody is, be prepared. Conditions can change. We talked a bit about what the forecast looks like over the next couple of weeks. That's a forecast, and then that can change on a heel in terms of what weather systems happen to come across our way. So it's all about being prepared. You mentioned the 72-hour kit. You mentioned about how you can protect your property, being in touch with all the social media channels, the websites, and the Voyant. Make sure you have that Voyant alert. That's about the major message, and as you said, that we can get out to folks is just be prepared for the advent of anything that comes our way, and whether it's spring flooding or let's cross our fingers, but we move into fire season again. In terms of risks to fire and things like that too, right?
Yeah, I think every season brings its own challenge. Yeah. So I remember in 2019 when we were in that flood time, and we were also battling forest fires. So it's we get challenges no matter where we are, and we're hopeful that we can get through this season the same way that we did last year. We'll have some elevated water as we normally do, but as long as people are prepared, like you were saying, that's the most important part. Your 72-hour kit, preparing your property, and just navigating that until the snow melts and we get through this watershed.
Mike, thanks for coming in. Appreciate the time you've taken today, and we certainly will be calling upon you as we go forward through the next few months, and if there's any opportunity for us to get you out there and share what's going on, I know that you'll be out there sharing information about the spring Freshet.
Absolutely. I appreciate you bringing me on.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
All right, thanks.
Well, today I'm joined by two fellows that I've known for a long time, Dave and Ken Veitch, both executives with the Muskoka Bears Junior C Hockey Club. Dave, you are the president of the club, and Kenny, you're the media director. Welcome to the Bridge.
Thank you very much for having us.
Well, you did that in unison. That was great. You are brothers.
We've been practicing. Yeah.
Well, at an exciting first year for the Muskoka Bears, and I can tell you that in my capacity as mayor, obviously I've been at a few games, but also just hearing the buzz within the community about having Junior C back in Bracebridge. Dave, tell us a little bit about how the first year went, some of the successes, and just the how the community has really kind of latched on to the new Bears.
Thanks for having us, Rick. It's been a great year. It's been an interesting year, to say the least. I'm not going to lie there, but it was a learning curve, to say the least. But all in all, it was a great success. These kids came out; they never quit, even though Alliston handed it to us a few times. We knew we weren't going to be having a whole lot of wins in our first year, being a first-year team, and being in one of the best divisions in the province didn't help. But we thought, well, why not make each game an event? We had a lot of community involvement, fundraisers, and the community needed this with the new arena and everything else. And bringing the Bears back to town was a big buzz, and the fans were fantastic. As you may or may not know, we had over 10,000 fans, including our playoff games, which I'm not sure has been done before by a first-year team. We've got a lot of heads turning from the league. A lot of accolades come from the top of the league, from the other teams. Sponsors. The sponsors have been. I'll let Ken touch on that. The sponsors have been unbelievable, and we just 2 years ago when we started this, we just we just had that feeling. You get excited when you know it's gonna work, and it worked.
Yeah, we sat on the beach in Costa Rica 2 years ago and listened to we watched a live feed of a game between Allison and Stainer beat the crap out of each other in the playoffs, and then we thought, when we get back, let's get our hands on the blueprints for the rink, and then there's a junior room being built, and we both decided, you know what, all it takes is time, and with our strong volunteerism in this, as you well know, in this community, we knew we just made a few phone calls when we got back, and we got some people involved, and it just mushroomed from there. It's been crazy, the reception we've got, and like Dave said, the reception we've got from teams from out of our division, from the league. They kept seeing the numbers and attendance, and they're just, what are you guys doing up there? Like, what are you doing? Are you giving stuff away or what? Cars or? And we said no. I said no. Honest to God, like that was our mantra from day one. That we have the community involved. Get the USPCA, Autism Canada, Mana Food Bank twice, community living, minor hockey, Remembrance Day, first responders, Bears alumni night. I mean, we just made it about the community, and the response has been overwhelming.
So tell me a little bit about the operation side of it. 20 some odd players coming to the community, some local players, and just that how you build a team and that camaraderie around that, and it obviously starts from the top. As you guys are on the executive, you've got a great executive. I know many of the members of the executive. They've been involved in hockey or volunteering in our community for a long time. Just maybe, Dave, give a little bit of understanding for the listeners about how you kind of started up a hockey team when you were into the fall of last year, starting with a blank slate.
Yeah, it was interesting. But the first thing we needed to start off with was hockey operations, and we got a great manager of hockey operations, Mike Carlson, who's into the hockey. That's one thing that Kenny and I have not been involved with in a long time with hockey.
That's not
we don't even
great,
play anymore.
So, yeah.
We're just retired old guys. But we started with Mike Carlson. That was one of my first calls. Barry Hammond was actually one of our first calls. He's our vice president. He's been involved with hockey and junior hockey for a long time.
Yeah.
We also got our money guys on site, Brian Bobette and Howie Fleming. And those guys know how to do the money. And so we set everything up in bank accounts, and just everything was, we're a not-for-profit organization, so we have to have everything on the up and up. And we just basically surrounded ourselves with people that know what they're doing, because we're basically cheerleaders.
Yep.
And we got everyone on board. The kids coming to town were great. We got, I think we got 3 or 4 of them on apprenticeship programs, which we offer. We've got over 30 companies that offer apprenticeships for the kids. We want the kids to stick around, because a lot of them don't go to university or college after. And a lot of kids stayed here, stayed to school. One of them stayed at Ken's Neighbors. 2 of them stayed at Ken's Neighbors. Yeah. And they just became part of the community too. And it's going to get even better. Yeah. We're going to need more billets next year. And the kids come to town. And kids have been coming to town playing with junior hockey in Bracebridge for a long time. Eric Faulkner came here and stayed and did a pretty good job.
With that being, you do a 3 or 4 year apprenticeship while playing junior C hockey in Muskoka, and at the end of your junior hockey career, now you've got a well-paying trade in Muskoka.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the league has been very high on us, on everybody for that matter, for doing that, and a lot of teams do that.
Yeah, I think that the kind of philosophy behind the junior C program is that you readily have to admit that not every kid is going to make the NHL.
No,
but they're still very active and very skilled hockey players that want to continue to play. And how do they play that
more
game?
More of a hometown hockey feel.
Exactly, and then link that with the opportunities for apprenticeships or work opportunities so that they have a kind of a career path as well, while still being able to play hockey. That's just an amazing kind of approach to it.
Yeah.
And one that's had great success at other teams, and certainly we saw this year with the Bears the success they've had with that kind of philosophy. I don't think there's probably a player on that team, if they were here today, would say, "Oh, this was not the great experience." They all loved the experience. Tell us a little bit about the player experience.
Well, the players, it's all about the kids, right? We give them the tools that they need on a game day basis. They've got an outstanding dressing room. They got we coach them bus them to games on coaches. And we've given them, the town essentially has given them an amazing dressing room, and we fine-tuned it to to our needs, and like little things like sponsors providing them with meals for the road trip back.
That was
Thankfully, we
fantastic.
don't really have to worry much about traveling any longer than like an hour and a half. I think is the longest road trip, which isn't too bad. So, but we want to make them feel that they want to come. We want them back, and we want to give them an opportunity to spread the word and get more kids coming here, more kids interested in here. And the thing is, Dave and I attended a minor hockey game last night, and we were thinking, could be some future junior C hockey players in another 3 or 4 years. And that's the kind of mantra that we were thinking, is also give kids something to shoot for locally, right? So,
And they never quit. The kids never quit, and that was the best part about it. They showed up for every community involvement thing, like the Santa Claus parade, the food drives, everything. And even to last night, there was a couple of them over there asking about when's their next meeting. What are you talking about the next meeting, Mr. Veitch, and stuff like that.
Springs back. Yeah, we had to get used to that, getting called Mr. Veitch.
Yeah, I was used to
I
that.
kept turning around looking for Dad. It's like,
Yeah, you can just call me Dave, man. It's all good. It's all good.
So, yeah,
The kids were great.
Kids were,
fantastic.
the kids were awesome too. And another thing too is like they touched on the sponsors too. I think we have like 86 sponsors of all different categories.
Wow.
It's just unbelievable the response we have. And everyone's been really great. Like I mentioned, the post-game away game meals,
20
to Pit and Nick's restaurant, providing the kids with wraps and stuff on the way home. A&W has been huge.
It's the kind of thing you don't see behind the scenes. Like we had, including playoffs, we had 23 away games. We got to feed 22 kids who like to eat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We packed coolers up every trip. The back of the bus, they all had something to eat on the way home.
Yeah,
and made it comfortable for them.
Well, one of the things that I was really impressed with is, and this was from game one, how you.
Yes, you were our first season ticket holder.
Well, exactly. I was actually the first season ticket holder.
Yeah.
But from game one, you really kind of presented a product that was really first class, and it was the little things that you did. You've got the Bears Den, you've got the fan experience, and you clearly spent a lot of time giving that thought about how you can have that fan experience, which really you see in OHL teams and NHL teams that you've really kind of brought to our arena here to our community. Maybe talk a little bit about that fan experience.
That gets back to the community also, right? Like the meeting sponsors, we had lanyards, and we issued lanyards to all our sponsors, so it gives them kind of a sense of belonging, to have a laminated pass and get them in for free, and then speak with all the other community groups, giving them exposure with the game day, game days, I guess you'd say. And the facility too, there's with the first year with the new facility, there's always going to be bugs, and they were ironed out, and for the most part, the transition went smoothly. It also helps too that the strong. I can't say enough about our strong volunteer commitment. We got a lot of people that came up to us and said, you guys are really running really good here. I asked a couple of people where this was and that was, and we also had an extensive merchandise table also that got a lot of traction with a lot of fans and sponsors also. And a
lot of things with the volunteers that
yeah.
there was endless amount of volunteers. Just can't thank them enough. And a lot of people don't realize a lot of volunteers don't get to watch the game.
No, exactly.
Yeah. So when we decided to have security at each benches, everyone was putting their hands up. Here's some choice words and go back and forth. But again, the volunteers have been
we've been great.
Unbelievable.
And visiting teams too. You don't normally hear from them unless there's a problem. Most of the visiting teams that we play, they've helped us to get to this point, and they're really good friends, and they very complimentary of the way the benches were, the facility, the dressing room facility, even the referees. We've been given great accolades. Our game day manager Brad Quinton, who does an awesome job in the penalty box at our home games. He's done an awesome job, and with the referees, we make sure the referees have water and fruit in their dressing room, and we got some feedback from the league and the Referees Association for that, complimenting us on that.
That's great.
And like I say, the volunteer army, they've been a huge part of this. They're the unsung heroes of the
absolutely.
franchise.
So we had a few minutes left. So there's going to be kind of a wrap-up banquet coming up in the next little while. I think on the 26th, you're planning for that. You've got some awards. Talk a bit about the 3 awards that you've got.
So we've got quite a few. I think we've got 8 or 9 in total. So we got one for the Captain's Year Award. That's normal one. Then we have the most valuable player is the Eric Faulkner Memorial Trophy, given to the Bears' most valuable player. We've also got the Scotty Lee's Memorial Trophy that's going to be out to Dedication and Bears Heart Award. And the third one is the Management Executive of the Year, and that's going to be the Danny Poland Memorial Award.
Yeah,
I thought that'd be fitting.
Absolutely. And for listeners, Danny Poland, hockey icon in Bracebridge, passed away just in the last week or so, and was actually one of the persons out there. He dropped the first puck.
He did drop the
night.
first puck.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, I gave him the picture, 8x10 picture, and it was autographed by the players, and he had proudly put it on his wall 2 days after his daughter had told me that.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
yeah.
Season 2? What's the focus on season 2? It's building, continue to build.
Yeah, building. Player recruitment is huge.
Yes.
That's already started.
Yes.
We're getting some ice times in May, taking June off, and scattered ice times throughout, starting in sometime in the summer. Again, it's not my department. So
Wherever we get next time, Allendale or Humphrey,
we've
Skates,
got quite a summer planned ahead, and we've already started recruiting for next year.
So as mayor, I often say that it's not my department, but I don't get away with that much at all. But
we if I could too, Rick.
Yeah.
Also, I'd like to put it out there too, regarding our sponsors too. If anybody is interested in helping us out, obviously our existing sponsors now will be visiting them the next couple of months to re-up with them, and we'd also, we're always willing to take more sponsors, and they can get in touch with me at bearsmedia24@gmail.com. That's BEARS media24@gmail.com. If they want to help us out in any capacity, we'd be more than happy to have them.
that's great. First of all, congratulations to you, the whole executive, on having a great season. Congratulations to the players. It has been absolutely wonderful to see our new Muskoka Lumber Arena, our new Muskoka Lumber Community Center, having Junior C hockey back in our community. And thank you for the effort that you both put in to make that happen. I'm going to ask that we invite you back in the fall,
Absolutely.
just before Game 1,
Absolutely.
and talk about the season to come. And again, thanks for taking the time to join us today. And go Bears!
Go Bears!
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to my guests for taking the time to join me today. This podcast was produced in the Dr. Ted Joe recording studio at the Colson Family Bracebridge Library. Thanks for listening, and be sure to join me on our next episode where we talk everything Bracebridge.